six. Yeah, so try again. This time take a vitamin. Yeah, invite him in. Welcome to the Lions Den. And I'm Mufasa, big boss in charge of. Coming in like a bull. You see me raising the stock up. Yeah. So baby, you gon' need some patience. I already won. Now I'm just making a statement. Damn, baby, why your mans keep hating? You asking about the cake, you here for the celebrations. And I ain't fishing, I ain't really into baiting. I know they all wish I take away they maiden, but sorry I'm taking me and my lady mating.
Hi guys.
Well, hey, welcome to the Walk In This Way's Impact Voice Talk Show brought to you by Gateway Media 882. I am your host, Ferman M. Jackson Jr., and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Today, we have a very special guest. Join us is mayor candidate Payton Jackson, who is seeking to lead the city of Dallas with a vision for the future. We'll be discussing her decision to run for mayor, her plans to strengthen the community, her approach to leadership and public service, and her vision for Dallas for 2007 and beyond. This conversation is about more than politics. It's about purpose, leadership, accountability, and the future of America's greatest city. So I want to welcome Payton once again to the platform. She's no stranger. I know you've been in this arena for a very, very long time, of course, very consistent, very dedicated. I love your approach to things, how you handle things, and you're making a name for yourself when it comes to being righteous. And I know I'm going biblical for a moment. The Bible said, when the righteous are in authority in Proverbs, the people rejoice. But we know when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn, right? But I know that's your approach to leadership, the future for Dallas and beyond that. I appreciate you again. I thank you. Keep up the great word, of course. So you're no stranger. So go ahead and do yourself to the audience as well here on the Walk In This Way's Impact Boys Talk Show.
Thank you. It's so nice to be back. Thank you so much for your support. For those who are unaware, my name is Payton Jackson. I am a self-proclaimed Christian nationalist. I am a firm believer in the first commandment that there's only one God, there's only one way to God, and that's through Jesus Christ. I am currently seeking to run for mayor of Dallas for 2027. Our elections were originally in the spring. Somehow, some way, they moved it to November. So there's a lot of things going on in Dallas outside of the World Cup. I know a lot of people are focused on that. But the city is in a major, major deficit. A lot of people are looking at whether or not we're getting ready to abandon City Hall. But the call is coming from inside the house when it comes to the problems within the city of Dallas. And I blame the voters. Our local elections are nonpartisan. I was super proud of Spencer Pratt for running as an independent. But even as if someone does run as an independent instead of picking a party, we still have the majority of voters arguing red or blue. And if we're talking about nonpartisan elections, I mean, at this point, we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know you are a young lady in this thing. Are you seeing more people around your age group getting more into politics now than ever before?
If they are, they're on the wrong side. The Democrats are strong at just a few things, and that's getting the youth. Now, when I originally got involved with Turning Point, I saw a major, major influx of younger people getting involved politically, but not actually putting themselves on the ballot. So I say this as often as I can. If there is any young Christian conservative out there that's asking themselves, well, how do I get involved? You can become a VDR. You can help people get registered to vote. You can help conservative candidates, or you can become the candidate yourself. And you don't have to have any experience. Just look to your leaders now, and then you realize literally anybody can do it.
Man, that's what's up right there. Like I said, I know you've been doing this for a while, and you target Dallas. You target Dallas of all places in Texas. Why Dallas? Why now? Why go ahead and turn Dallas upside down?
Well, if anything, I'm flipping it back upright. But no, for certain positions, you actually have to live in that district, that city, that area. When I ran for Congress in the state of Texas, it says that you have to live within a district, but federal law trumps state law. So you don't actually have to live in whatever congressional district you're running for. But I currently reside in the city of Dallas. I've known Dallas since I moved to Texas after Hurricane Katrina. It's just where I grew up. So why not?
Yeah, it makes sense. And I know you are a very powerful speaker, and I witnessed that in person, of course. And you have got people's attention because I've seen after you got done speaking, I seen individual approach you, and they
Yeah.
approach you with the not hate, but I seen them approach you with the respect, the love,
Mhm.
your honesty. Do you view yourself as being the voice for the voiceless in our generation?
Sometimes, depending on who doesn't have a voice. But yeah, I definitely get that feeling sometimes. A lot of people don't like what I have to say most of the time, but there's always a few people that either don't say anything because they think I'm just not approachable, or they meet me afterwards and they thank me for whatever I said that day. So I appreciate that.
All right, so that means you had one of those Nicodemus moments. Remember, Nicodemus came to Jesus that night, and he knew who Jesus was, but he didn't want the other people to know that he associated with Jesus. Came to him at night, so that's what
Yeah.
made me think about that. You had one of those Nicodemus experiences, but you always stand on business. You stand 10 toes down. You don't compromise. You don't bend no break, and we know when you're standing for righteousness, you have to stand boldly. And we know God
Mhm.
does not use cowards. You cannot be
Yeah.
fearful and be used by God. He don't operate like that. But
Yeah.
what would you say to a person who desires to get into the ring that you're in today? What advice would you give them if they had a desire to get in that arena?
Just do it. And I hate to sound like Nike, but you literally have to just do it. No one is going to give you permission to shake up the room. And you shouldn't want that, especially if you're going to shake up the room, whether you know it or not. Just say what's on your heart and definitely pray about it because you could be wrong. Do your research, talk to God, and just believe in yourself and in your faith.
And that's what's up. And I know, like I said, I know you're in Dallas, and I know you're out there all the time in Dallas. What problems facing Dallas motivate you to step forward and seek this office?
Um, So my website, my slogan, my number one thing, no taxing with Jackson. I absolutely hate taxes. And if you've been watching the leadership, the government locally in the city of Dallas, we're facing I believe, roughly $51 million deficit. Now, if they lost their money, that's their problem. But the fact that we are extorting housing for the salaries of politicians, for the car notes of politicians, for the nonprofits of politicians, just for them to waste it and then say, hey, well, we kind of have a deficit. And then to start furloughing people, adding insult to injury. I mean, somebody has to do something.
Yeah, it really does. Because we know it's a lot going on. We see what
Yeah.
happened out in Frisco with the Carmelo Anthony situation.
Mhm.
The no against the no situation in Mississippi. I hope I said that right. And we
Yeah.
see that within our community, they made it more about race. And I
Yeah.
know you being a conservative and don't look at color, of course. What have been your opinions on that? On how people like what's his name? Ben Cobb, whatever his name is, and Al Sharpton's yeah, Ben Crump, and I've been watching it, and I really don't agree with it how they really been handling this whole situation.
Um, I stayed far away from that courthouse as far as I possibly could because I knew what was about to happen. I didn't know that they would do all of that. Like I saw videos of them telling the family, "Oh, I'm glad Austin's dead." I don't see race. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm a Christian before anything. I'm a Christian before I'm a conservative. And one of the scriptures that really got to me, I think it's in Matthew. Don't quote me though. It's how you treat God's children. You would be better off tying weights around your neck and
Right.
jumping in the ocean than to offend a child of God. So for someone grown, mind you, to say something like, "Oh, I'm glad a child is dead simply because of race," it's very telling, and it's very common. And I hate to say it, but it is very common in the Black community. The majority in the Black community, we don't believe that we can be racist simply because, oh, we can't have power over another. If you're racist, you're racist. If you're judging someone simply because they're white or simply because they're not black or simply because of their race, that's racist. It doesn't matter if you believe that you have power over them. And even if you don't deem it racist, it's ungodly. And you will have to answer for that. So for the people who have decided to act like that, for the world to see, knowing that Carmelo was a murderer, he is guilty. Even with the appeal that Ben Crump has going on, he is guilty. He was wrong. He brought a knife, a weapon to a track meet, went under somebody else's tent, was asked to leave multiple times, said, touch me if you want, see what happens. We know what that means in the Black community. A light shove led to you stabbing someone in the chest, not the arm, not that that matters, but in the chest. You stabbed that boy in the heart. And for grown people in the Black community to flood that courthouse, saying things like the only good cracker is a dead cracker. It's just, I mean, what was the point of desegregation if you were going to act like that? And it's so disheartening. It is so disheartening. And like I said before, the most important part about all of this is that it's ungodly. And a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, but let's just focus on the Black community, we believe that we won't have to answer for certain things because we're Black. Or because, oh, well, we were just responding. Well, how does God teach us to respond to adversity? When we're before the wicked, we're taught, we're commanded, we're called to hold our tongue with a bridle, even if someone did do us wrong. We're not a part of Islam. We can't go and kill the infidels. So the fact that we have feet quick to evil, which is another thing that God hates, and it's grown people. These aren't kids. These are adults. And we wonder why the Black community is the way that it is. And I don't want to comment too much on what happened in Mississippi because I don't know all of the facts yet. But for the Black community to look at a scenario like that being the only Black person in the group, and he had all white friends, and because something happened, oh, well, this is why we shouldn't be around white people. When I was living in Fort Worth and in certain parts of Dallas, I hear gunshots every night. So when you see these gangs terrorizing our neighborhoods, why don't you tell your son, oh, you don't need to be hanging around the people that look like you? We kill each other more than anybody.
I agree.
So why are we so fixated on race when the problem is within the Black community? We have a lot of things to fix, and it starts with us, especially the Black man, and the fact that he is not head of household in the majority of our households. So the fact that we're so fixated on the white community or anybody else is sad, and is disingenuous to actually being productive within our community.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I came across an article, I think sometime last month. It was a big drive-by shooting in South Dallas, and it was gang related. And we know that in South Dallas is violence, and we know that how it is. But we never see nobody address that a lot when it comes to Black on Black violence within our community. I never see them say, "Hey, we need to stop this. Hey, we need to put an end to this." It keeps going on and on. But when another has something to do outside the race, when oh, it's racism, but we
That's when the Ben Crumps come out. They don't come out when it's Black on Black. The Ben Crumps and the Lee Merritts, they pop out whenever it's white or any other race against Black. Even though Black boys, Black people die every day at the hands of other Black people.
every day, all day, and we see it, and it shows. I know recently it was a thing sometime here. It was a group of kids. They were Black, and here in Dallas, they had an Airbnb after graduation. It was a young man who was Black, had a gun, went and shot these kids up because he was mad because he was not invited to the graduation party. But I never see nobody talk about that. I never seen nobody, hey, we need to stop this. But hey, I mean, just saying. But we see this all the time in the city, and we never see nobody come out and say anything about it. It's like turn?
It's for show, but I can't. At a certain point, you can't blame the politician. You can't blame Ben Crump or any stupid quote unquote attorneys. You can't blame them because it's the people that
Yeah.
feed into this. They feed into the fake pastors. They feed into the fake churches. They feed into the fake leaders, the fake politicians. They feed into the system that dismantles what we're supposed to be building.
Most definitely. I agree with you on that 1000%. And we talk about the vision for the future of Dallas. Like I know you're running for mayor of Dallas for 2027. What is your long-term vision for Dallas over the next 10 to 20 years?
Within the next 10 years, solving homelessness for sure. It won't take me 10 years. I have a solution that'll take me about 90 days.
Okay.
It may be a little unconstitutional, but I definitely have a solution. Now, 20 years, it may sound naive, but it is very much doable. I would like the city of Dallas to be the very first tax-free city, not sales tax. I'm talking about property tax. And I'm not talking about for everybody. Anybody that's foreign born, like myself, because I was born in Louisiana. But anybody native to Dallas, Texas, wouldn't have to pay any type of property taxes on property that they homestead. This does not qualify for any investment property, but it is to embrace home ownership within the native community. So I would, and it is so doable. It is so doable if you just look at the percentage of natives in that city. And it's only for homesteaders, meaning no investment properties, no second properties or anything like that. And I think I think that will be very beneficial because there's a lot of outsiders, again, like myself, coming into the great city of Dallas, increasing the cost of housing.
Yeah. And of course, I work for Dallas County Sheriff Department and I've been there going on
Yes,
six
thank you for your
years.
service.
And I appreciate and we have a lot of inmates that come in who are homeless, mental inmates that come in on a regular basis. And I know there are
Mhm,
no places for them to get the proper treatment. Jail is not the place for them. So you
mhm.
have a plan implemented for that too, when it comes to the mental health aspect for the individuals, male and female, who are being incarcerated due to their
Absolutely.
mental health conditions.
Absolutely. I am a firm believer in institutions. There's a lot of nonprofits going around, whether they are feeding the homeless or perpetuating the drugs within the city of Dallas. I am a firm believer in if it needs to be an asylum, it needs to be an asylum. But the fact that we are paying nonprofits to perpetuate problems that they're supposed to solve, it never solves the problem if we keep handing out grants and funding to nonprofits because of course they want more money. But then another problem with the homelessness, I won't say a lot, but a good amount of the homeless aren't native to Dallas, and that's a problem. I don't want to put funding towards helping, and I know it's somewhat inhumane, helping outsiders. I'll give you a ticket back home. But if you came to Dallas just to be homeless, it's time to return back to wherever you came from.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you 1000% on what you're saying, Peyton. My next question for you is how do you envision Dallas becoming one of the leading cities in America?
Well, depending on who you ask, we're already one of the best leading cities in America, especially business wise. But when you look at the headlines and you see AT&T leaving, you see Neiman's Markets leaving, you see who else left?
The Dallas Mavericks, they went out to North Dallas. They've even removed their stuff
Yeah, well,
out
they're
to North
still
Dallas.
kind of there because they're like on the outskirts of Carrollton. But we're losing a lot of businesses, and it brings me back to the homeless. I don't know the last time you've actually like walked downtown, but it's riddled with homeless people, and no logical, credible employer wants to deal with that.
I agree.
So we
I agree.
have to solve homelessness, most definitely. But if it works for the city, incentivizing those businesses, especially if they're hiring natives, that's really what I want to focus on is catering to the native population in the city of Dallas. Meaning, if you were actually born here, but there's so many foreign-born people, that's the problem because the
Yeah.
natives are being pushed out, they're being priced out. So we have to take care of the people who were actually born in the city.
Man, and that's what's up right there. And I know when it comes to downtown, I know a lot of people view downtown Dallas very dangerous because, like I said, with the homelessness, the mental issues, we have a lot of them come in because they attack someone, and we see a lot of that taking place. You have individuals who mind their own business, want to go downtown, have a good time, but you have the individuals come out of nowhere and just harass you and attack you, and it's like, okay, it's kind of not safe down here. I prefer not to go downtown. And it's so, I mean, are you seeing more of that concerns as well?
Yeah, I've never been personally attacked in downtown, but I know where not to go. I know my limits. But yeah, not only attacks, but it's just a bad look and it smells horrible. But if you go, pretty sure it's still clean now. But whenever the city is having like a big event, they'll push the homeless out temporarily. Like they'll move the encampments down the street or to South Dallas, anywhere but downtown. Like for the World Cup, oh,
Hmm.
it's sparkly clean. But it's because the leaders know no one wants to see that. No one wants to see the state of Dallas, not the true state of Dallas. And I'm not even talking about the financials. Homelessness is a huge problem in the city of Dallas.
I like that. I like your answers. And my next question for you, ma'am, is what role should intervention play, technology, entrepreneurship play in Dallas' future?
I tell you what could be a part of it is AI, but I don't think we as Americans are embracing it the way that we could. When I look to China, and I'm not defending China, but when I look to China, they're embracing it. We're scared of it for whatever reason. Like they're using it in elementary school to make apps, to make businesses, while we're using Chat GPT for therapy or just the stupidest things. We're not using it um to actually embrace innovation, and not just on the government level. Lord knows the government will probably never be as efficient as it possibly can because we prioritize the use it or lose it system. Meaning, the more money we spend, the more money we keep. If we don't spend this money, we can't keep it. So we can use AI right now, but we're not embracing it as within our government. But we can also embrace it within the school system, which is another hurdle in the city of Dallas. DISD, much like most of the public schools, they're failing. And one of the things that I don't understand is how we are willing and able and capable of paying a board of trustees to run a school district where the kids can't read on grade level. We can use AI and be innovative to help these kids, but we're not.
And we're in a world now that everything is technology now. Everything has become technology now. And I know it's within our come within the share department, we are being educated when it comes to AI. So 'cause that's where it's at. That's where it's at now. And to catch a board on what's going on, to keep it with the times. I know a lot of people are scared to keep it with the times, but that's just where we are today. In the world of technology, and technology is taking over.
Right. I agree.
So I mean, you just got to get on it and just get on it. And I know you mentioned the schools and school teachers are having, I assume, are having a tough time now when it comes to students. Where
Mhm.
do you see? What is your plan? What do you envision for the school system when it comes to the students, especially the teachers? It's like they're just being overwhelmed with everything when it
Mhm.
comes to children's behavior. That's another thing that
Yeah.
goes on. Um, we see that all the time. But what can we do as a people to make things better when it comes to our teachers and students and stuff like that? In your opinion?
Um, I believe that the board of trustees for every school district, not just Dallas ISD, should be reduced down to minimum wage, if not commission. If the kids can't read on grade level, you don't get paid. It's a volunteer job. And it's not foreign to think that. A lot of people think that every city council gets paid. I embrace you to do your research across Texas. Not every city council gets paid. They get a per diem, if that. But reduce that salary from the board of trustees, and any teacher that's meeting the mark, they get a raise. And I say any teacher that's actually meeting the mark, because not every teacher is a good teacher.
I agree.
Any teacher that has a flag other than the American flag up in their class needs to go home. They shouldn't even work for the district. But this is more of a state issue, because I believe that our curriculum definitely needs to change. We're getting away from STAR, but there are some major hurdles that we need to face, in particular with basic math and basic reading. Some may disagree. I don't think we need, I'm okay with Algebra 1. Algebra 2 is a waste of time. Geometry is a waste of time. Any science like chemistry, unless you're going into that field, it's a waste of time. We need to hone in on basic math and basic reading. The fact that we aren't diving into financial literacy, and which they recently made some changes, but I'm talking about going over the 5 factors of consumer credit, addressing business credit, taxes. There should be no reason why these kids don't know how to do their taxes, knowing that this is mandatory every single year outside of graduation. Trades, I don't understand. Well, I do understand why they took out trades, because if you look at the tuition, but not every kid needs to go to college. And I'm not trying to discourage people from going to college, but I promise you, not everyone needs to go to college. Unless you're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, or something like that, you don't need to go to college. I mean, I went for an accounting degree. I could have gotten everything plus more if I just read the entire series of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that's what we don't talk about. Not every kid needs to go to college. And just because you didn't go to college doesn't mean that you're a failure. We need to bring trades back. And I mean actual trades statewide, nationwide.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Now we have a comment section on the YouTube side. The comment is we have to stop funding other countries, which are taxpayers' money, so they can have free healthcare in college when we have veterans dying in the street. What do you say about that, Peyton?
Oh, I agree. I'm still doing my research, but it's been reported that the city of Dallas indirectly sent Israel $80 million. Fact check me. But if I find out that that was true, I am definitely going to raise some flags there. The fact that we're able to send money outside of not just the city, not just the county, not just the state, but outside of this nation from taxing Americans is insane. But I go back to saying we can't just blame the politician. We can't just blame the pastors who are misleading us. We can't just blame the leaders who are putting these people in power. It's the American people. We're busy arguing red or blue, especially during nonpartisan elections, unknowing that both sides are screwing us. Now I'm a conservative, but I'm a Christian first. Right is right and wrong is wrong. We have to bring it back to the American people. Why are you perpetuating a system that is already against you? Why are we have dumped tea for less? Why are we allowing the system to extort our housing, to extort our income? Just the DOD has never passed an audit. But if you as a taxpayer can't pass an audit, they're not going to treat you like the DOD and say, oh, it's okay. At
Yeah,
what point in time do we stand up?
I agree. I agree 1000%. And we want to take a big shout out to everybody who's watching us this morning on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and also I am live streaming on X, formerly known as Twitter now, of course. So I will be live streaming on there as well. We are live streaming on X right now, by the way. So big shout out to those who are watching us on Twitter this morning as well. Like I said, this is great stuff. Are we getting to the point now, Peyton, in your opinion, that we are being more educated? I see a lot of more conservative at yourself switching over now more than ever. I know in our community, they told us to go Democrat, Democrat, Democrat due to the color of our skin. If you was Republican for the white people, and I know a lot of people start doing history on that now. So a lot of people are wising up and switching over. What have you thought about that with people just wising up now, people of color wising up now, switching over and just all about fairness? Hey, fair is fair, right is right, wrong is wrong, right is right.
I have seen more um, Black conservatives, or at least Black independents, at least questioning things more than I ever have in my entire life. A lot of people know me from that speech about I was born Black, not Democrat, because we are, at least from my experience, we are taught vote blue no matter who. I mean, a Nazi could, an actual Nazi can be running as a Democrat, and we're still told to vote for someone like that simply because they're Democrat, because we feel safe with Democrats for whatever reason, as if they've done anything major for any community outside of the gay community. But I'm hoping it sticks, especially in the Black community, which I would like to see what's going to happen in 2028, or at least in the midterms. And I don't want to see people talking about this war because Trump is not on the ballot. And I think that's where a lot of people are confused. They'll look at what Trump is doing. You may not agree with what he's doing. I don't really care because he's not on the ballot. He's not. So you can be mad at Trump, but look at who's actually on your ballot. And if you're blaming every Republican for what Trump is doing, that's disingenuous. That's disingenuous. That's like blaming Biden, or blaming every Democrat for what Biden did. And I mean, that man was an idiot, but you didn't blame every Democrat when he said, "Oh, if you ain't voting for me, you ain't Black." You still went out and voted for him. So for the midterms that's coming up, which I don't believe that the Republicans are doing a great job. But now it's not, we're past the primary. So people know exactly who they're going to vote for in the general election, because Republicans or conservatives don't want a Democrat in office, and Democrats don't want a Republican in office. So they know exactly who they're going to vote for. But I think it's, again, disingenuous to count out the third parties. And a lot of Republicans don't want to hear this part of what I have to say, but sometimes those independents are more conservative than the actual Republicans. And this is the time to embrace independence. This is the time to embrace third parties, because they don't have to get past the Electoral College. You don't know who's running as an independent yet, because it's not even August, and that's when they start to go through the paperwork. They had to submit it in the state of Texas in June. And that's if they didn't have you still, even if you had a runoff, you still had to submit the signatures in June. In the state of Texas, as an independent, you can't buy your way onto the ballot like the other parties can. So, and this also speaks to third parties and independents. You have to get your name out there, because the major media, they're not going to push you up. They don't want you to win. So when independents and third parties, you don't have a website, you don't have a Facebook page, there's no way for your constituents to contact you, and you're not going door to door. How are people supposed to know who you are? Because once they get to that ballot box, they already know who they are going to vote for. It's either red or blue. And the midterms, anything outside of presidential, it's time to let go of the two-party system. You don't have to deal with the Electoral College in the midterms.
I like that. Well, why we don't focus on our local official? We more focus on the natural state when it comes to the presidential race, but we never find out who our local officials are. Why we don't think that's attracted to us? Why we don't think, oh, it is what it is. I just look at the big picture, but we never focus on our local officials, and we never get it. I don't think we don't take it seriously when it comes to our local officials, in my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. We're way more emotional about the presidency. Most people come out every 4 years instead of every 2 years or every year to vote, which there is an election every year. But The people who do know who the local leaders are the ones who are getting paid. It's the NPOs, it's the pastors, it's the churches, it's the people who are in on the corruption. The majority of the time, they don't care about new blood coming in. They don't care about new solutions. They care about that grant that they know they're going to get from that politician, and that's a piece of the problem. The NPOs, the nonprofits, are a major problem in politics. Major problem. So while most people ignore local elections, the people who are super involved are the people who are getting paid and perpetuating the issues that they claim to solve. That's a piece of the problem.
I like that because I know me and Shay went with you one time to a city. He was in Dallas, and we didn't
Mhm.
see a lot of people there. I know we went
Yeah.
there to sports you, but we didn't see a lot of people there. Most of it was mostly like older people, but we
Mhm.
just noticed that it does not be appealing to a lot of people. But I think that it's something we need to know, especially in our area zip code that we're living in. It's important that we need to know who our city official is, and just saying
Right.
looking at the president and all this other stuff, but find out how local officials are. We search for everything else. We find out what's the latest trend and the latest iPhone and the latest this and the latest that. But we never look and do our study. Even Martin Luther King said it should not be the content of a person's skin, but by their character.
Absolutely.
How important, Payton, is it for us to start not focus on skin color, but the points of character? How important is that to
Oh,
focus on
it's
character?
super important. It is super important. We have a saying in the Black community: "We all we got." Well, what are we being bonded with? Because I mean, super glue is stronger than the bond than that we have in the Black community. It doesn't go far at all. We will cross each other before we cross anybody else, and we shouldn't be crossing anybody. But I think it's so ironic that we put King on this pedestal and we don't follow any of the main things that he said out loud, the main things that he put in those speeches, content of the character over skin color. But we'll go out and fight for something like diversity, equity, and inclusion, not for someone with a disability and a logical role or a realistic role. No, we put our skin color before anything. And we have leaders like Jasmine Crockett that'll get on before a mic and say, "Oh, well, I got my first job because I was Black," and then try and crucify us anytime we say something like, "Well, you can either be overqualified or disadvantaged. Which one is it?" Because if you're overqualified, you don't need a hand up. I don't believe that, especially a Black woman, has the privilege of not knowing how to do her job and just meeting a quota. And as a Black woman, why would you even want that? I want you to hire me because you actually believe in what I have to bring. I don't want you to hire me because I'm a woman, because it's disrespect that comes with that. I don't want you to hire me because I'm Black, because it's disrespect that comes with that. So the fact that we can go out and fight for something like that and still quote King, and skin color isn't the only thing that's so ironic when we're quoting King. Like, he was against the original Homestead Act that gave white immigrants land and all of these different type of resources. But when you look at the modern day Democrats, that's all they fight for. They advocate for immigration. And then it's illegal immigration at that. And the average Black person, we don't do the appropriate amount of research, especially when it comes to immigration. And I was a victim of ignorance as well. And sometimes still to this day I am. But for you to get on the front lines for something that will disadvantage you, but you don't know it because you haven't read enough books. But Dr. King spoke against the original Homestead Act. His wife wrote a letter to Congress saying, "Hey, illegal immigration is harming the Black community. Barbara Jordan came out before she died in 1996 and said, "Hey, immigration is not a right, but it's a privilege, and that we are uh, doing a disservice to legal immigration by allowing illegal immigration." But then when you look at our schools, how are our schools overran when we abort every baby we get? It's because illegal aliens are being enrolled into our school systems. Our housing, not just the cost of housing, but the access to our housing. Our neighborhoods that were once predominantly Black are now predominantly Hispanic or uh, any other race because we don't believe in financial literacy in the Black community. We don't believe in trust funds. We don't believe in estate planning for whatever reason. We feel like if we create a trust fund or a will and somebody else knows about it, they're going to kill us. And I mean, at this rate, they might. They might. But then you look at the wages. It's not just the accessibility of jobs in the Black community, but how is it that the Democrat Party is the party of increasing the minimum wage when you perpetuate, you embrace illegal immigration? And as an employer, if Jose is willing to work for $3 an hour and he's loyal because he knows I can just make one call of ICE and this is all that he has to send back home. And then I look at this Black person that comes in with an attitude and that wants at least 725, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to be late. Why would I go with the Black person when Jose is cheaper, more loyal, and quiet, and work faster, and probably work better? We cheer for our own demise. And sometimes it's either because we want to be a part of a headline, like the Carmelo Anthony trial. Like a lot of people went out there to be a part of a headline or to be featured in some type of podcast or news front page. Why? And it's not just the pastors, it's not just the NPOs, but these are all grown people fiending for attention instead of actually doing the research and trying to better our community. And not just the Black community, trying to better our society by coming together arms in arms with people that don't look like you, that people that maybe don't think like you. Maybe they are conservative and you're just super liberal. Why can't we stand together for the greater good, especially when it comes to local politics? Why do we have to be so divisive, especially when it comes to race? As if any of this is Christ-like. And a lot of people, or at least half of the people that were acting sideways at that trial, they would act like that during the week and then head to church that Sunday. Do you think that any of what you were doing this week was Christ-like, telling people the only good cracker is a dead cracker? For what?
And we're pushing hate for no reason at all and thinking we want to be respected at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it does not work like that. But I do have a question though.
Mhm.
Who has influenced your leadership philosophy the most? Do you have anybody who influenced your leadership philosophy?
God, most definitely. Every leader on earth that I've seen is flawed. Of course, they're man or woman. I like Kennedy. I think he's really, really funny, really blunt. And that's how I am. If I can find a joke in what I'm saying, I will definitely have a joke prepared or slide out. But God is who leads me, who restrains me. Because sometimes I go off of the handle and I'm reminded that I'm commanded, I'm called to be Christ-like. So that's who leads me the most.
Right, because I think we should imply more of God's principle in our everyday life. That is to me is the foundation to me. That is the blueprint to me. That is a blueprint to us to make us better as individuals, as community. Going back to that landmark. I know in Matthew 6:30, he says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness." And we forget that part, his righteousness, his way of doing things, and everything else will be added unto us. Does that play a role in your run for mayor? taking the principles of the kingdom, applying those principles to make the impact of the word gonna work itself. Because we know the he said mention live by bread, but by every word. So if that's even more in that into your run for merit, bringing back the principles of the kingdom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Christ runs my life as a woman, as a wife, soon to be, hopefully, as a mother, um, as a as a politician, as a speaker. Sometimes I have to rewrite what I wrote because I was like, oh, it's not really Christ-like. But yeah, I am terrified of disappointing him. If I ever heard the words "Depart from me, I never knew you," I don't know what I would do. So he comes first in everything I set out to do.
Yeah, because I read this all the time, Peyton, and I have it highlighted. He said, "By their fruits you shall know them." And
Mhm,
I meditate on that all the time. It is all about people's fruit. It's not about I hear what you're saying by watching your fruit.
mhm.
And we know that fruit tells a lot about a person's character. I just believe once we apply that to our lives, I think our decision making will be better, in my opinion. Well, we're gonna have to. I know we got up into our emotions and we don't think things clear. We don't think logically. Even Jesus did say, "Have you sit down and consider the call and tear the parable?" And that
Mhm.
is wisdom to me. Before you do anything, sit down. Have you considered the call before you go actually go and do this? And I know we all been victims of that. I know I've been victims of that numerous times. Don't sit down, don't calculate the cost. I just go and do. And then I end up getting messed up all over the place. But I think that's
Absolutely.
very important if before we do anything in life, hey, sit down, think about this thing before you actually do it. Is that implemented more in that as well? Hey, sit down, think before you do anything. I think they would say with a lot of time in trouble. I know I've been there before. I wore the t-shirt, so I'm just being more mindful and being more secure when it comes to decision, when it comes to basing decision on what the word of God says.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. Sometimes I have be quick to evil too. I'm human. Um, but then I slow down and I remember, okay, this isn't the way of God. This isn't Christ like. So it's time to slow down, especially me being a woman. Let's calm the emotions down. Let's use logic. And let's go sit down and talk to God. That's why every single morning I wake up, I touch my Bible and I remind myself that I am recommitting my life to God and I am completely submitted to his will. And I ask him to just lead me in the ways that he would want me to go.
Okay, I like that a lot. And my question for you is, what strategies will you implement to increase community engagement in city decisions?
Door to door. I think that's my favorite part of the campaign, going door to door, knocking on doors, meeting people. Now, is it up? It's up for them to actually answer the door. Because besides that, I would have to rely on flyers, which most politicians do. But I pride myself on going door to door, meeting new people, conversing with my constituents, whether they're liberal, conservatives, Democrat, Republican, independent, even if they don't vote, because there are a lot of non-voters in the city of Dallas that are just ignored. Um, and as a candidate, I can understand why they are ignored, but as just me, as a leader, I would want to show them, hey, I could be different. I am different. And hopefully I can earn your trust enough to just get registered to vote. And then eventually come out when you believe the time is right. But most politicians don't go door to door. I can't tell you how many votes I've received simply because I was the only politician, Democrat, Republican, Independent, to knock on their door. Most politicians don't, especially in the hood, especially in black neighborhoods. They don't even waste time because it's a perception that black people don't vote. And if they do vote, they only vote in presidential elections.
Hmm. Okay, this was up right there. So my next one is 5 years from now. What
Mhm.
change do you hope Dallas residents will see because of your leadership?
Most definitely the homelessness and a tax relief from native homesteaders.
Okay. Okay. So, and what message do you have for young people who aspire to become leaders in government and public service?
Don't wait for permission. You're never going to get permission. You should never look for permission. I remember the first potential endorsement I got was from a union rep group in Dallas. And within 30 seconds of the meeting, I found out who the stupidest person there was. His question to me was, who gave you permission to run? And that is the mindset of a lot of people in politics, especially a lot of elders in the political realm. They are expecting people to ask for their permission. And you don't need any permission unless it's from God. So if you have it on your heart to run, I am calling any and all Christian conservatives, I don't care if you're independent or Republican, to actually go and put yourself on the ballot. I don't care if it's Congress. I don't care if it's city council, county commissioner. I don't care if it's water board, railroad commission. Do something. Even if you have to start as a BDR, walk around your neighborhood, get associated with your neighborhood association. You have to be the change that you're looking for, because the older community, they have dropped the ball. And in certain positions, they don't have term limits like Congress. So you are needed to step up.
Yeah, this was up right there. And what my ask was is, what do you want voters to know about the person behind the campaign?
I will never lie to you. You may not like my answer, but I will never lie to you. I don't care if you like the response, but I will never lie to you.
Okay. Hey, you are an honest person. You are an individual, and I'm just saying about experience, just being around you multiple times. So you are a woman of your word, and you are dedicated in what you do. Cause that's what people want. People want realness.
Yeah.
No,
Those
keeping it
that
one
say they
thousand.
won't.
Yeah, that's what they say they want until you actually tell them. You don't tell them what they want to hear. You tell them what they need to hear. And when you
Absolutely.
tell people they need to hear, they don't like it because we so custom of people lying to us. When it comes, you might say religion. Religion lied to us. Our
Mhm.
quote unquote pastors lied to us. They'll give you
Mhm.
this lollipop feel good message and thinking that you gonna make it, knowing that we still have flaws, issues, this bad poor decision making, procrastination. Because the Bible do say, "Whom the Son set free is free indeed," and we know when you come into the knowledge of the truth, your whole life will change, and you
Mhm.
should want that transformation at all point. I believe in that. But I do
Amen.
have, but I do have this one for you. If you could
Mhm.
leave Dallas with one defining achievement as mayor, what would it be?
Just one.
It could be more than one. What you got?
Definitely the homeless, but that's doable within less than a year. That's doable. Um, but my major thing is taxes. Looking out for the property taxes for native homesteaders, not for everybody, not for every property, but for the people who are native to the city of Dallas, who are homesteading a property. That single property should not be taxed. If I or when, not if, but when I can get that done, I would be proud of that legacy.
Okay, that was up. Like I said, keep it a great word. This is my last final question for him. I'm not going to hold you up because I know you're a very productive woman. So my last one is finally, why should the people of Dallas trust you with the responsibility of leading one of America's fastest growing cities?
Oh, that's easy. Look at who's in charge now, and I'll leave that there.
Hey, that sums it up right there. If I let you go, pay, you have any words of advice, any sounds of which you're going to leave him listen on this, we're live streaming all social media platforms and we'll watch us in the near future.
Put God first. Get registered to vote. Come out to vote, and stop arguing red or blue during nonpartisan elections. You look stupid. But above all, put God first.
Hey, that sums it up right there, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate thank everybody watching us on all social media platforms today. Man, y'all have a great day. I will see y'all later on the Just Saying podcast with Larissa at 5. To then, man, y'all have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you next time. Payton, thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your day, ma'am. And I will see y'all once again here on the Walking This Way's Impact Voice Talk Show. Peace, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
That put in pain. Remember lockdown, popping bottles, getting restrained. You as a young and wanna on game. I know I'm going up, but still humble I remain. A lot. Yeah, that she hanging on the blame. But I just feel the energy this way and go insane. I be spitting from the heart off the top like it's easy. Just was on the block, how I pop, guess they need me. I be spitting flop, every drop, it's a PD. Still ride with but the odds, BD. Daddy's got me wheezy. I just drop